Today we have a special guest. Vamos a estar hablando de diferentes cosas, diferentes temas importantes que quiero compartir con todos ustedes. Voy a empezar hablando un poco en inglés y en español. Como lo saben, el día de ayer tuve la oportunidad de compartir una noticia sobre estos médicos que están hablando sobre esta medicina que puede salvar muchísimas vidas, pero que sin embargo la media lo quiere tapar, no quiere darle la importancia que se merecen. Y me refiero a todos los grandes, cuando hablo de media, ya me estoy refiriendo también a todos estos grandes consorcios de tecnología, the big company, the technology company, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I wanted today, if you have any question, I wanted to share with me your view about what was happening or what happened yesterday with these doctors. They tried, the big company, the big technology company, tried to delete everything that they say Facebook, Twitter, Instagram about the hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine is in the market for the last 65 years. And now this doctor salieron a la prensa, hablaron sobre por qué en los Estados Unidos no se le puede dar este medicamento a los miles y miles de personas que están muriendo today by the Chinese virus or coronavirus, whatever you wanted to call that virus. Hydroxychloroquine. Find more information in the same page of the CDC. They have a lot of information about this medicine that maybe can save your life or your family life. Talk to your official elect politician. Tell them that you want it, that the doctor have the option to provide that medicine to our patient from the Chinese virus or COVID-19. So, but today, at the beginning of the show, I wanted to talk to you about one interview that yesterday, Mr. Tucker Carlson from the Fox News or Fox channel, they have this interview with the son of the president, because yesterday, you know that the Donald Trump Jr. retweet what the president say, what this doctor says about the hydroxychloroquine. For some reason, Twitter tried to silence and warning his account, suspending him from Twitter. What happened today in the United States is very concerned, because one of the best thing that we have in this country is the liberty to speech. You can say whatever you want to say when you are respectful to the people. But in this case, was like maybe 20 doctors from different parts of the United States that they have a conference on Monday. They have a conference also on Tuesday, but the media and the big company shutting down completed their videos. And why I say this is very concerned, because if today you say something that they don't want it, the other people know about, they're going to shut down. That is why I still saying to all my people that social media, that big company like Facebook, Twitter, like Amazon, they can do with us whatever they want. And I want to share with you guys this special interview. After that, let's talking about what happened in the interview. What said Trump Jr. about what happened to him, and it's something that can happen to you also. So let me share this. By the way, for the people here in South Florida, today I have two special guests. Hoy vamos a tener también dos invitados especiales. You know, when I started in radio and television, cuando empecé en la radio y la televisión, yo comencé en Radio Paz. I was starting in Radio Peace. It's a Catholic station here in South Florida. And I met a great man that for me was a special person. And I'm talking about Pedro Paulo Peña. Todo el mundo que sabe acerca de ballet en South Florida, cuando hablemos de lo que vamos a presentar hoy, estaremos hablando de la vida de un hombre que era, sobre todas las cosas, un gran ser humano. A todo el mundo que tocaba las puertas del ballet en Miami, él siempre se las abría. Era una persona que tenía un gran corazón y lo sigue teniendo, porque mi recuerdo siempre lo quiero recordar así. Yo, la muerte para mí es simplemente un cambio de estado, ¿no? Estado físico a estado espiritual. Y hoy estaremos hablando acerca de un documental que se va a presentar en los próximos días. So, voy a pasar. Let's do this interview first. Let's talking about this, and later come back with them, because I think will be very good. Ya pensaba que se habían ido, pero ahí los veo ya. Miguel Castañeda estará con nosotros y también nos acompaña, por supuesto. Oye, que hacía tiempo que yo estaba por tratar de hacerle esta entrevista, ¿no? A Heriberto, que es el que se ha quedado, el señor Heriberto, a cargo de todo lo que Pedro Paulo Peña hizo a lo largo de la historia. Vamos a pasar entonces, primero que todo, a esta entrevista, porque creo que es importante. I think it's very important talking about what happened to the son of the president of the United States, Mr. Trump Jr. Let's see what the interview. Let's hear the interview.
Power that authoritarian dictators once dreamed of. Somewhere in a very hot place, Nicolae Ceausescu drools in envy. Tech companies can, in just seconds, censor videos, articles, news reports. They disappear like they never existed. Government has placed no limits on these powers, so increasing...
Okay, Carson starts saying something that is very important. You hear that. Let me try to translate that in Spanish, so the people that is, here on our show, know what happened. Hoy por hoy, usted pone algo en la social media o a través de la internet y, como él bien dijo, las compañías le hacen así, ¡pum!, lo desaparecen y ya usted no es más nadie. ¿Por qué? Porque son temas que también a la media tradicional no les interesa. No les interesa porque ellos forman parte también, la extrema izquierda, de todo lo que está sucediendo a nivel mundial. Donde quieren un solo gobierno, donde quieren un gobierno paternalista, donde quieren un gobierno que los regalen todo. Ellos forman parte de todo esto, ¿no? Entonces, en los Estados Unidos específicamente, en the United States, el gobierno no ha hecho hasta cierto punto todo lo posible para poder dominar todas estas grandes compañías que tienen la data de todos nosotros. They have all our data. I don't talking just about simple username and password. I'm talking your daily day. Everything that you do, everything where you going, everything you post in social media or internet, they know who you are.
The censorship is totally brazen. It's out in the open. They don't care. When Donald Trump Jr. posted the footage of doctors challenging the coronavirus storyline and adding their own views on it, as they're entitled to as physicians, Twitter suspended his account and then deleted the tweet. But even that wasn't enough for the ghouls at CNN. They complained that Trump's account wasn't censored enough.
From my understanding, in terms of this Twitter restriction of tweeting for Don Jr., it's like 12 hours. And the question is, how many people saw this and believed this before action was taken? Talk about, if you understand, politics behind the president's son tweeting falsehoods.
Despite Twitter suspending his account and restricting his account, it's the cat's out of the bag. You can't change it.
Yeah.
Listen, it's disturbing. It makes a difference. You can argue it costs lives.
Those of us who've been in this business for a while never dreamed we'd live to see journalists calling for more censorship. But that's where we are.
If you see this CNN, of course, they want censorship. They want to put something in your mouth. You cannot say whatever you think. These doctors, I present that doctor yesterday to you, the board of this organization, they are really doctors. They have an opinion. They are not a CDC worker that is in the office sitting in the computer, just see the numbers. Oh, today we have more case than yesterday. Oh, today we have more numbers than yesterday. No. They are working with the people in the hospital. They know that a lot of people are dying today, that a lot of people maybe they can save their life if they use this medicine. But for some reason, they wanted to shoot down the video. They don't want to hear their opinion. Also, they warning our channel. I don't care about that, because if they shutting down my Facebook page, my Facebook account, or my YouTube channel, I'm going to continue because we have entu.com. That is why they cannot shutting down Fox, because they have their own platform. They can close their account en YouTube. Of course, they can close their account. Ellos pueden cerrarle todas las cuentas a Fox, pero ellos tienen su plataforma y no les interesa, no tienen que, como yo siempre les he dicho, nosotros nos hemos convertido en creadores de contenidos para todas estas social medias y plataformas que de una manera o de otra hacen lo que ellos quieran hacer. We are converting ourselves in content creator for this platform. So let's continue with this.
Donald Trump Jr. is the author of the new book, Liberal Privilege. It's available for pre-order. We're happy to have him join us tonight. Don, thanks so much for coming on. So I just have to ask you the bluntest possible question with respect. Given the level of censorship imposed on you and anyone who supports the incumbent president, does the incumbent have a chance of getting reelected?
Well, listen, I've been saying this for a long time. I wrote my first book about just this, the censorship coming from the big tech giants, from California, from as homogenous a group as you could possibly imagine.
That's for sure.
And if they're censoring my account, they're censoring others. They have been trying to do this for a while. I've been talking about the deplatforming, the demonetization of people that have big social platforms that are preaching conservative values. Because, Tucker, you have to note, this never happens to someone saying something that benefits the left. It only hurts conservatives.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Let's put it again. Let's put it again what did he say, because I wanted to talk about this. And this is very important. ¿Escucharon eso, no? Eso es sumamente importante, que nosotros entendamos esto que él dijo. Déjame ponerlo otra vez para oírlo bien, porque quiero que ustedes lo oigan, ¿no?
To someone saying something that benefits the left. It only hurts conservatives. Now, when I posted that video, I did...
¿Por qué? Why? Why when some liberal put something, they don't censor you? They don't close their account? ¿Por qué cuando los liberales ponen algo, ellos nunca le cancelan sus cuentas? ¿Por qué esto sucede nada más cuando la derecha, cuando los conservadores ponemos algo y quieren entonces callarnos las bocas? ¿Quieren close our account? Why?
didn't say, well, this is the gospel. I said, wow, this is a must watch because it seems very contrary to the narrative that they've been force feeding us for a little while. Now, Twitter takes me down for that, but Twitter has no problem saying that coronavirus disinformation spread by the Chinese government does not violate their rules. That's interesting. It happens all one way. It was very nice watching the people from CNN or MSNBC because Jake Tapper himself a few weeks ago posted, study finds hydroxychloroquine helped coronavirus patients survive better. Now, why is Jake Tapper not spreading misinformation? But I somehow am. And again, I'm not.
Do you see that? One guy can say this. One guy, he can say that, but we cannot say that. Trump Jr. cannot say that. That no was misinformation for them. Eso no fue mala información para ellos. No, porque es cuando lo hacemos nosotros. No es cuando ellos lo hacen. When they do things, it's okay. That can happen. It doesn't matter. When we do things, they're going to close our accounts. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're going to them also.
Not a doctor. I didn't claim to be. I just put something out there that challenged the narrative. And because I have a large platform, I'm canceled. You know who else got thrown off Twitter for the same offense? Sidney Powell, who happens to be Michael Flynn's attorney and has been someone who's been sticking it to the left. So if fake Jake at CNN, who no one is going to confuse as a conservative, can put it but not be censored, not be questioned, and certainly not be grilled by a panel of his peers on CNN, why is it that it's happening to me and other Trump conservatives and other conservatives in general?
If I see another Republican office holder backed by Google and the Chamber of Commerce lecture me that it's not really censorship because the government isn't doing it, just a monopoly that exists because of the government, I'm going to go bananas. I mean, is there anybody in power who can step in to defend the most basic right of all of the American people, which is to say what you think is true?
Exactly.
Well, I think Josh Hawley in the Senate has done a very good job challenging this. Kevin McCarthy in the House has done the same thing, and that's the problem. Like I said, I've been talking about this thing for 3 years. I see what happens to my Twitter feed. I'm probably getting less than half the retweets, and I do enough of this that I know what I'm going to get before I hit send.
Okay, a lot of people in the Congress are working with this big tech company. Y en muchos casos, estas mismas compañías son las que nos quieren silenciar a nosotros. Son las que cuando usted quiere decir algo que es su opinión, que tiene pruebas para hacerlo, quieren silenciarlo. Y esto es very dangerous. What happened today in the United States is very dangerous that a couple of people can handle the community, can stop the community, can stop the voice, the community. That is what happening today in the United States. It's the same thing that happened in China. It's the same thing that happened in Venezuela or happened in Cuba. In China, you cannot say right now whatever you want to say about the Communist Party in Hong Kong because they kill you. They put you in jail. It's the same thing. Do you have las pruebas para decir que tienes tu argumento de algo que tú estás pensando and they wanted to shoot down to you?
They're doing what they can. I did a panel at CPAC with Josh and Kevin McCarthy about just this. They're aware. The real problem is that the vast majority of conservative legislators and Republicans have no idea that this issue is even going on. And more importantly, they don't realize that it's probably a top 2 or 3 issue with their base. If you're religious, if you're pro-life, if you're pro-Second Amendment, just look at your analytics, and they've gone through the floor. It's just been a disaster.
That is very interesting. Okay. If you are pro-choice, if you wanted to say that the abortion is killing innocent people, is killing innocent human beings, your post going down. Because the woman have a right to kill people. I remember 5 years ago when one guy took a gun and killed his wife with a baby inside of her, and they charged him with 2 murders for his wife, and the baby. So when one woman going and make an abortion, it's okay for them. And you cannot say that, what I say right now, because they going to shut it down, the channel. Yo recuerdo hace 5 años atrás, una muchacha que fue asesinada por su esposo con un niño en el vientre. Y ese muchacho lo acusaron de doble asesinato, porque usted no puede decir en las redes sociales que un aborto es un asesinato. No, no lo puede decir. Usted no puede estar a favor de los derechos civiles de los humanos, porque eso forma problemas en las redes. Usted no puede ser pro-Trump, porque eso es desinformación.
And it's happened systematically, on purpose, and it's gone on now for years. They have to wake up.
So before you go, I just cannot resist getting your view of this. The Attorney General was up on the Hill today for hearings. Here's Congressman Jerry Nadler of Manhattan responding to a question about the violence. Watch this.
This is something
Mr.
different about it.
Jordan,
You know.
Mr. Biggs and Mr. Johnson to stop violating the rules of the committee, to stop violating the safety of the members of the committee, to stop holding themselves out as not caring by refusing to wear their masks.
Oh, different clip, but equally nuts. What do you think of that?
Well, listen,
Look at this.
I mean, this is typical Democrat, do as I say, not as I do. This is the same Jerry Nadler that yesterday on TV was denying that anything's even going on in Portland as it relates to the violence that is decimating Democrat-controlled cities. Now, again, 19 of the top 20 cities in this country are Democrat-run, Democrat mayors who appoint Democrats across the board. In many cases, these cities have been run by Democrats for over 100 years.
Ok, este congresista le estaba diciendo al otro que estaba violando las leyes, que se estaba quitando la máscara y él simplemente tenía la máscara abajo. Okay. O es que ponerse la máscara hay que ponérsela aquí abajo para estar bien. No, la máscara te la tienes que poner bien. Simplemente es, como decían, haz lo que yo digo, pero no hagas lo que yo hago, ¿no?
Yet magically, it's Donald Trump's fault. It was Donald Trump's fault when he sent federal officers to help and assist the Portland PD, who, by the way, were under attack every night for 5 weeks prior to those federal officers being there. But again, it's magically Donald Trump's fault. But that's the problem, Tucker. The news that's getting disseminated to the average guy. People like you and me, we perhaps do this stuff all day long.
Yeah.
We can see through it. But if you're a hardworking man or woman, you're putting food on your table, you're consuming 5-10 minutes of news, and it's that filtered and it's that biased, that is the lens by which you are getting your news. It's hard to make an accurate opinion because you're being spoon-fed all these things.
Well, exactly.
And that is their intention.
So, this last part don't, anything to do with the first part, but it's important to the question that Carl do to this to Trump Jr. A lot of this city for the last 100 years aren't in the hand of Democrats. A lot of this city that they destroy completely the city, like in Minneapolis, Seattle, are in the hand of Democrats. So, if these people need help, the government of the United States going to send help to them. Ustedes han mirado todo lo que ha sucedido en las últimas semanas. Es destruyéndolo todo. ¿Qué están defendiendo? Pónganse a trabajar. Pónganse a buscarse el sueldo. Pónganse a hacer algo. Reinvéntense. My friend, this is not about Democrat or Republican. This is about the freedom of the United States of America. This is about your freedom. This is about my freedom. This is the freedom of my sons. This is the freedom of the all-American. Yesterday, here in the Coral Gables, some of part of this group they call Black Lives Matter, I don't know what kind of matter for them, because they are destroying everything. And I know a lot of people, they believe on that. And I think that is very important. But I say all life matter. All life matter. It's not just about black. It's not about Chinese people. It's not about white people. It's just about all life matter. Here in Coral Gable, I have the picture. I'm going to find out the picture later. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to show you what they already do here in Coral Gables, in our town. That is not the way. That is not the way. We need to find the balance. We need to think, if we don't put our hands, if we don't register to vote, we're going to lose. And it's time that everybody wake up. Se despiertan. Inscríbanse para votar. Porque estas elecciones son sumamente importantes para seguir guardando la libertad de los Estados Unidos. I don't care personally. I don't care about free things. I don't want a free education. I don't want a free medicine. I just need to be helped with my hand, working hard to bring everything to my family. That is the only one that I have. I don't need a government. I don't need to ask the government for help. Because today I have a lot of clients that have a lot of employees that don't want to go back to work because they are receiving more money that they earn when they are working. What do you think about that? That is the kind of government that a lot of people, and as you know, and it's very it's very complicated to understand how immigrants came to a communist country and wanted to do that here in the United States, in this beautiful country that opened the door for them. That is my first point of today's show. So